Hello, and welcome to the G Suiteness Hour number 3. This is a video series where we get to tackle all of the wonderful things going on for our G Suite for Education transition in Aurora Public Schools. My name is Ben Wolkoff. I am the Program Director for Personalized Learning in Aurora Public Schools, and I would love to share today how this looks on mobile devices. So up until this point, we've really focused on the desktop experience for those who are using the Google tools, looking primarily at Google Calendar, as well as at so Google Calendar and then Gmail. But what we want to do today is actually look at what it looks like from the mobile perspective, because we know that many different folks want to use their devices. They want to use their phones, they want to use tablets in order to access these resources, and it's not always done on the desktop. Now, all of the resources, again, you can get access to from our gsuite.aurorak12.org site. All of those resources will always be there. And there are some mobile specific resources on the Outlook to G Suite transition. But this session, this show, is going to be about how it looks from the perspective of mobile devices. And I want to show you two ways to interact with your account, your G Suite account. One thing to note is we do have the iPad on the left and the iPhone on the right. Android, obviously being a Google product itself, works extremely well, and you log in at the system level to gain access to your accounts, and so it looks very similarly. But this particular session is going to be focused on iOS because it may be a little bit different. It's not quite as integrated with Apple as it is on Android phones. Obviously, you're logging in with your Google accounts to get access to your phone or your Android tablet if you want to do that. And if you're logging into a Chromebook, well, you're already ready. You've got access to both your calendar and Gmail. But I want to talk about the two ways that you gain access to Google resources on your phone and tablet. The first of which is by opening up your settings app. And so I'm going to open it up on both. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to log in to our Google accounts from the settings app. So in order to do that, you need to scroll down, and these are on iOS 11. If you're not on iOS 11, it may look slightly different, but it's a very similar process. In iOS 11, which if you're not upgrading to that yet, I highly recommend it. Super great feature set and things like that. You're going to go into the accounts and passwords, just like you might think, right? So accounts and passwords, that's where you're going to add your account. You see all of my accounts are right there, and all I need to do is add an account on either side, so my iPad and iPhone there. And then, as you might imagine, we're just going to add the Google account. So I'm going to tap on Google, and it's going to take me to my Google login page. I'm going to type in my full aurorak12.org email address. So bhwolkoff at aurorak12.org and press next. If you have ever entered in your password previously, it may show up there, but you will obviously need to enter in the correct password for your APS k12.org email address. aurorak12.org. And when you have that up and running, I'm just going to switch over to the other page just so you don't see my passwords, because that's not great practice. So I'm just going to switch over here so you can see the screen while I'm entering in my password into both devices, and then I'll switch back over so you can see exactly what that looks like on our lovely screen. And so what we have access to, what we have access to over here is our Google account. It's actually telling me that that I need to that I actually already have this account on my machine, but I just recently deleted it. So I'm gonna switch both of these off so that you can actually see it working when we add it there. I'm just gonna switch those off and then restart them. So while those are restarting, because we are live, obviously you can ask it whatever questions you might wanna see there. But I did wanna log in and make sure that you see what that looks like through the actual application and through the device itself. Um, so we had some really great moments of questions and answer on Friday talking about the Outlook to G Suite transition. And one of the things I'm most excited about is actually our frequently asked questions that that are being cultivated and created. So under transition help on our site, we actually have our frequently asked questions. It's what's called a live PDF. It's being pulled directly from the Google Doc, which is fantastic. I love being able to do that live PDF view of our Google Doc. And I just wanted to go through while these are booting back up and we're sort of walking through. I wanted to go through a couple of the big questions that came up on Friday during our session with classified staff, as well as at other points. And so one of the things that has come up is, can you continue to use Microsoft Office tools even if you use the G Suite tools? And the answer is absolutely yes. It's one of my favorite things to say about this transition is use the right tool for the job. Google Calendar, Google Gmail for the G Suite account. That is absolutely the right tool for the job in so many ways. It gives us access to the same tools that our students are using. It also supports us in making better financial decisions based upon the price that we no longer have to pay for hosting our email, all kinds of really great resources there. Also, we have features that are not available in our current Outlook setup, and so it's really great to see that. But it doesn't mean that you have to stop using the tools that you already know and love, that you already are or know and tolerate. If you tolerate Excel and PowerPoint and all those kinds of things, what's great there is you can use those desktop based tools, those ways of interacting with your slideshows and Excel documents, all of those kinds of things. That doesn't have to go away. You can continue to use them, and you can even upload those to Google Drive and either collaborate as Google document versions of those, or simply just upload versioning inside of Google Drive. There's a way to do that where you can actually see all of the versions of files if you want to keep them in their native formats for Microsoft Office. And so, to me, that means that you don't have to choose between Google and Microsoft. You don't have to choose between the tools that you are familiar with and comfortable with and the tools that you might want to be using otherwise, right? So you can obviously take a look at using Google Drive and things like that, but you can stay in the Microsoft universe. One thing to note, and we made a really big emphasis on this on Friday, is that essentially the biggest transition here is not so much for email, it's actually just in terms of the email address, right? You've been so used to logging into things with aps.k12.co.us, and now you actually get to do a much simpler address. You get to transfer over. You're not going to get tired of saying that huge address over the phone. You can just do aurorak12.org, and that's a lot easier than essentially having to remember that address and to have to tell people over the phone and things like that. But But this transition doesn't mean you won't receive email to that old address. We're actually leaving that open for 2 years. You will still be able to get emails at the aps.k12.co.us address for 2 years after the transition. And that makes it really nice and easy for you to sort of transition people to your new address and to make sure that they are aware of the shift. What we're recommending is you put that into your signature line, just saying, hey, I've got a new address. And because you're replying to people and it's always going to be from your new aurorak12.org address, it's going to show up correctly. It's people will be updating their address. And even if you don't interact with them but once a year even, they will receive the new address, and you won't really have to worry about people having the old one after a while, because eventually they'll just start replying to your emails and they will switch over organically. But we are leaving it open for 2 years, so you don't have to worry about not receiving mail in case somebody does send something to the old address. And it doesn't take super long. You can notify people. You don't have to just let it be in your signature, but it does work out really well because we have the old system just feeding into it. So any email that comes in for 2 years will show up in your Gmail inbox, and you won't have to worry about it. You won't have to worry about it getting stuck somewhere. All right, so now we're back and loaded with both of these. I'm gonna hop into both my iPad and into my iPhone. And what's great is we're just gonna hop back into settings and see what that looks like. So inside of my settings, what we have here are the things that you can turn on. You can decide if you want to use the default mail application, default contacts and calendars, and even have synced notes. If I turn all of those on, I get to have those. Now, if I want to use the Gmail application, which is something that you may want to do, you can turn this off, or you can leave it for later. But essentially, all I'm going to do is save that inside of my account right there. And what's fantastic is it just shows up like any other account that I've got on my device. Super valuable to be able to see what it looks like alongside all of your other accounts. So now that I've got it set up in settings, if I open up just my regular mail, my application for mail on both of these, I will see that my inbox right here, if I want to go over to my Gmail, I'll see right there, Gmail is up and running. I can see what addresses have been added, and I can look at all of my mail. So fantastic. Everything comes up correctly on both of my devices now that I've added my account. And so it's super easy to use this alongside any other email address that you have set up. You see I have my old Outlook email address right there, but I have my new aurorak12.org. I have all of my folders or labels, as they are called in Gmail, set up there. You see that they are the same across my phone, across my iPad. I'm going to be able to see that. What's fantastic about this is it's integrated, and anytime I tap on an email address anywhere inside of my phone or my iPad device, it will show up. But let's say that I don't want to use the built-in applications. I really want to dig into the Google ecosystem. I want to focus on Gmail, Calendar. Well, fortunately, Google has an application for both. We're going to start with Gmail. We're going to start right here with our Gmail. and it's going to ask us to sign in once again. But instead of signing in to the overall device, I'm actually going to sign in directly to my account. Now, if you've signed in before, you'll see all of your various accounts that are there. I'm just going to tap in and I can choose which ones I want to be signed in on each device. So right here, I've got access and I keep my inbox pretty clean. But if I go again to my all mail, you'll see everything that is there. You'll see all of the various things that I see coming through, all of the various alerts, all of my email right there. Is a second way of interacting with your account. And again, you can have multiple accounts that you're able to use. Some people really like this interface. They really like the ability to do their management of Gmail directly in here because it's already built by Google. You've got the ability to do some sophisticated attachments. If I want to just create a brand new message, I'm tapping on the red. I'm tapping on the red message right there and the little right button. And then I can click on the attachment. And what's great is it actually does allow you to pull from Google Drive in order to attach things. So you have things from your camera roll that you can add, but you can also attach things directly from Google Drive. And it'll create that attachment. The other thing that I like a lot is it pulls from the address book. So if I type in one of my colleagues, Jan Parker, it will pull in my address book, both from my device as well as the global address book from Google. And it makes it really nice and easy for me to just tap on people and send them the message. Obviously, this is really easy, but definitely just a very typical email interaction. So we have all of our devices set up. They are ready to go with Gmail. Now let's talk about Calendar. So I'm going to open up what Google Calendar looks like on both of these devices. Now, these are apps that you can get from the App Store. And really, it all comes down to how do you want to manage your mail and calendar? Do you want to do it from the application that Google provides, or do you want to do it through the application that is provided by the manufacturer of your device? So whether that's, Samsung has some sophisticated applications that they use. And then you also have what Apple does on their devices. So I'm just going to choose which accounts that I want to show here. So if I actually do manage my accounts, I'm going to turn off everything except for my AuroraK12.org email account. I'm going to turn all that off, and I'm going to turn it on my iPad here. So when I go back and we get started with our accounts right here, you'll see that it's just the calendars that I want to have turned on. Now, remember, you can have multiple different calendars turned on for any given account. And so I can see what Jackie Sloan, Jan Parker are up to. I can decide which ones I want to see on different devices and have them show up directly onto my iPad or onto my phone. Now, this view is maybe a little bit harder to see on the phone, but if I actually if I want to turn it sideways, then I will get the landscape view, and I can decide how I want to start seeing that information. You'll see that on here I have the ability to see all of my all-day events and things like that. And I'm going to be able to, notice what's going on for that particular day on any of the calendars that I want to view. If I want to create a new event, I just tap the plus button in the bottom right corner, no matter which device I'm on, and I can click an event. But you can also create goals, which are long-term, and reminders that are short-term. I'm going to tap on events just so you can see what this interface looks like. Now, remember, inside of Gmail, or excuse me, Google Calendar, we add guests. Okay, we don't forward invites, we add guests. And one of my favorite features, which is the same across both phone and tablet interfaces, is the ability to reserve rooms. So I can see all of the rooms that are available to me, and I can notice and see, oh, I want the learning resources collaboration space. That shows up directly there. That to me is super valuable because I can reserve rooms on the go. I don't have to be back at my desktop, working off of the Google Calendar on the desktop itself. I can have all of the people inside of my global address book be added directly there. So I'm going to add Nick, and I press done, and he'll show up as one of the guests that will show up at my meeting. I can also use Find a Time, which I really like on the phone and on the iPad. It's going to find times, the best times for everybody, because it's going to show their availability. I'm going to do that over here as well, doing the exact same thing with the exact same person. And what's great is you can, find a time for Nick and I to come and to take part in that particular event, right? We have the ability to find those times and to make it nice and easy. So when I am ready, I can obviously save the event, or if I want to discard it, because this is not an event that we need, we can discard and go back to our calendar view. Right now, I'm just looking at a day view, but if I want to see on the iPad the full month long, that's totally fine as well. I can obviously change using the more regular day-long calendar. If I want to see the week-long view on the iPad, see that week-long view as well. Really valuable ways of seeing things. I can do the same thing over here, although on the phone with a little bit less real estate. And so I'm going to go to the 3-day view and see everything for what's going on. And I can scroll back and forth, seeing what's going on across the different days. This right here is, the basics. There are a lot more Google apps that allow you to take part system, but I want to continue to focus on the 2 core apps for the transition. And then we'll obviously, in our future G Suiteness hours, we will have the opportunity to build out supports for the other applications. So again, on your phone, you can use really any mail application. I tend to like things, either the default or the Gmail application, or one of my favorites is called Airmail. But there are dozens of applications that you can get, and you can choose that you want to use. But it makes it nice and easy to be able to access your Google account from anywhere. If you do have further questions about how to use the mobile devices or how to use your desktop for using G Suite for Education, please do ask. It's really easy to leverage this site. So it's just gsuite.aurorak12.org, and you'll be able to get into all of the resources that you might need. Again, if you need personal training or support, remember, just click over here where you set up a professional learning session with one of your personalized learning partners. You're able to make use of 15-minute sessions where we hop on a hangout like this, 30, 60, or even 90-minute sessions that are introductions to your Google Certified or Google certification. So really great stuff. I hope that you learned a whole bunch, and let me know what you're thinking. If you have further questions about how to make this work within your own environment, super exciting to start seeing us use these tools. I hope you have a great day of teaching, learning, leading, and creating. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.